To improve at cubing, we are often told that we need to have ambitious goals and we must spend ages practicing. But what if we could achieve major success by making small tweaks to the system we already use? I read a book. Well, not quite. I listened to a book, but the lessons I learned actually made such an impact on the way I cube that I had to inform you. So even if you don't enjoy reading, you can still benefit from what I am about to tell you. The first and most important thing that has helped me, mostly mindset based, is that you shouldn't focus on aims. The way that James Clear presented this idea went along these lines.
And if successful and unsuccessful people share the same goals, then the goal cannot be what differentiates the winners from the losers.
Everyone has the same aim. As an example, every cuber wants to become sub 20, then sub 15, then sub 10, and a lot of them will fail, which means the aim isn't the thing that differentiates you from everyone else. If you say that within the next month you want to hit a certain time goal, yes, it could help motivate you, but there are still hundreds of people that have said the exact same thing, and a majority of them won't manage it. A great analogy of this is in sports. If you spend the whole 90 minutes of a football game just staring at the scoreboard, it won't change. Instead, you need to focus on what you can do to make the scoreboard change. This is the same with cubing. You can't just keep looking at your average which isn't improving. What you need to do is focus on what you can actively do to make that difference. James Clear says that you need to focus on the systems and not the aims, and this has really helped me. Over time I realised that if I made sure that every part of my solve was more effective, I would drastically improve. This brings me on to my next point and the next thing I learnt from this book. You shouldn't worry about making massive improvements to one part of your solve, because inevitably you will fail. Instead, if you focused on making each tiny part just 1% better, in the long run it will lead to a larger rate of success. The analogy for this is that if you improve your life by 1% every single day for just 1 year, at the end you would end up improving your life by 37%, which is much more than if you just set out to be 50% better within a year and then failed so you didn't change anything at all.
If you can get 1% better each day for 1 year, you'll end up 37 times better by the time you're done. Conversely, if you get 1% worse each day for 1 year, you'll decline nearly down to zero. What starts as a small win or a minor setback accumulates into something much more.
To apply this to cubing, if you improved your finger tricks for every PLL case, yes, you wouldn't have made too much of a decrease in your average. However, if you made this change over the entire solve with cross, F2L, OLL and PLL, it would lead to a large decrease in your average. This means that now, instead of aspiring to learn a whole new method such as ZBLL, I have focused on just making my cases more effective. Not only is this proven to make more of a difference, it also helps me want to practice, because it seems like a smaller and more easily achieved finishing product compared to learning another 493 new algorithms. Now, one of the biggest takeaways from listening to this book is that change isn't linear. It is so easy to make new habits and then expect the timings to follow the exact same rate. However, this just doesn't happen. Generally, the graph looks somewhat like this, in that you will have a very slow start. However, the further along you get, the more of a visible impact you will notice. What happens in the early stages of improvement is that people can't see that much of a change, which makes it really easy to get demotivated, and therefore, a lot of people just give up within a very short space of time. This is because a really common belief is that in just a short amount of time you will start to get much better, and this is just simply not true. Change isn't immediate, and that is a very key point which a lot of people don't understand. I'm now going to talk a little bit about identity. This is one of the main themes throughout this book, which I think can really easily be applied to improving at cubing. One of the ways that James Clear suggests to improve in life is just think about the type of person who. This basically means that if you want to improve at cubing, you should think about the type of person who is able to drastically decrease their average. For me, I can imagine this person as someone who practices a good amount and someone who makes sure that that practice is as efficient as possible. I also think this person would focus on the bad habits which are stopping them from improving, and using that to drill in good habits which will help them. If you use this mindset, then you can find out what you need to do to improve. The author says that if you act like that person for long enough, you eventually become that person, because now you have built up the habits to do all of these things you aspired to be like. This is what I did with cubing. I looked at the things that that person would be doing and then did them myself. Although I haven't had enough time to actually see proper results from this method, because it takes ages to form good habits, I already know how much of an impact this is going to have later down the line. One of the things that can hurt you when it comes to improving is telling yourself that you aren't good at cubing. If we use the previous point, in that if you act like that person, you will become that person, this can also give a negative impact. If you are constantly telling yourself that you are bad and that you'll never improve, you eventually will accept and convince your mind into thinking that you are bad, which will obviously have a very negative impact on your improvement. Another smaller point is that pride will help you with your habits. For example, if you are proud to have incredible look ahead, then you will ensure that you don't lose this skill. If you are proud to have good turns per second, then you will not take too much time off so you can preserve this. I found that I enjoy making videos about cubing, and therefore I want to improve so that I can maintain a good status within the cubing YouTuber scene. If you make sure you are proud about a certain part of your habits, you will focus on them and make sure they are the best they can possibly be. And I'm going to wrap up this video with one last piece of advice. Everyone is so fixated on getting the result they want to such a level where they don't enjoy the process, as they tell themselves they will be happy when they reach a certain time goal. What ends up happening is that they reach this achievement and then instantly set up a new one, and they don't enjoy what they have said they are going to be happy with. What you should aim to do is just enjoy the process. If you drop half a second, be happy with it, and don't put off your enjoyment until you become sub 15 or sub 10.